The Pursuit, Chapter 9. Off to the Races. Eli and Cupid sat in the back of the Jeep as I revved the engine and took the gear out of neutral. Who's ready to hop universes? Both boys nodded as the windows were rolled down and I drove towards the old steep racetrack. The woods rolled by as the boys and myself each took hits off joints, blunts, or dab pens. And I took out my phone and it was time for music. Eli, Cupid, who wants the first song? I'll leave it up to you to play a few songs each. Cue us up with some good tunes. Eli took the phone and both he and Cupid looked at the screen intensely. Some enchanted evening. I chuckled as my mom used to play this song on long car rides. Good choice, guys. Good choice. Hummed along to the song and tapped the steering wheel as we got towards the top of the racetrack. Floored it down the hill, and once we reached our speed, the void opened up again. Amazing, isn't it? Each and every time. Then the controls died as a reddish void swallowed us whole. So, boys, what do we think? What are we looking for in terms of universes? Eli scrunched up his face as Cupid tapped his leg while deep in thought. Does it only have to be a single universe, Charles? Cupid's face then lit up after Eli spoke. No, it doesn't. This is far too big for just a few universes. This is going to take allies, and a lot of them. Strength in diversity. I nodded, and then we got a ping on the computer. It was clicked, and then an asphalt road suddenly materialized under us. There were lush, rolling green fields and hills behind us, with a massive, expansive city a few miles down the road. Where are we, Dad? I shrugged my shoulders and then started to drive the Jeep towards the city, and there was a sign in a language I didn't recognize, not even from Earth. It seemed to be a configuration of straight black lines on a white sign. Then we saw a gray high-rise in the distance with a flashing billboard, but this was in English? Welcome, Charles, Eli, and Cupid. Drive to this building. We are humbly waiting. Eli and Cupid looked at each other with a slightly nervous expression as I chuckled nervously myself. Well, there goes the element of surprise then. Okay, guys, are we ready? Both nodded as in the distance there was a figure standing in front of the building. Then it waved. Okay, this was freaky. Then I pulled the Jeep under the shadow of the building as it was far taller up close than I initially had thought. Before we knew it, the figure came into better vision, and it looked to be a person wearing a blue suit. Upon closer inspection, I couldn't be sure if it was human or not. The skin seemed to be too smooth and a bit shinier than usual. It was a bit opaque upon even closer inspection. They had white, long hair pulled into a bun and intense red eyes. As I opened the door, the person walked over to the Jeep. Hello, Charles. My name is Alphie. Also, it's a pleasure to meet you, Cupid and Eli. You have many questions, I know, but all in good time. Now come with me. We walked inside the white door as it was composed of gray marble or a similar substance. Our footsteps echoed off the floor as it seemed empty until we walked out of the hallway into a massive library filled with 4 seemingly infinite tall bookshelves. Actually, the room seemed to be a single room in the whole building, as Alphie led us to a wooden table with 4 metal seats. We each sat down as Alphie silently looked at us. Questions. I nodded vigorously. Alphie sat silent, and I took that as my cue. Where are we? Who are you, and how'd you know us? Alphie snapped his fingers, and an ancient leather-bound book appeared in my hands, already opened to page 219. To the 3 who come in Jeep, beware the price is steep. Named as Cupid the cat, Eli the farmer, and Charles the destroyer. I looked up from the book and at Alphie. How do you know this? Alphie stayed silent. Eli broke the silence. Will all the questions be answered? Again, no response. Will only the right questions be responded to? Alphie turned to look at Cupid. Correct. Once a cat, always a curious cat. Cupid nodded while slyly smiling. What is the cost to win? Alphie looked up into the infinite. Greater than the fight itself. A reality must perish, but which one is up to you? Eli looked at Alphie. Will any of us die? Alphie looked down and towards Eli. The family is safe, but surviving has a cost. I looked at Alphie. Will it be up to me or 3? Alphie smiled, which was unnervingly sincere. 3. Then the book vanished out of my hands as Alphie stood up and gestured for us to leave. But he held me back as he handed me a beige leather journal. As Eli and Cupid walked up ahead of me, Alphie pulled me in close and whispered in my ear, "This is for cheating. Be careful, as you have the power of destiny in that book. Rules are rules. Nathan's threat is all-encompassing, but actions always have consequences. Now please win." Now armed with an elemental force of the universe in my hands, I jogged to catch up to the boys. "What's that, Dad?" Cupid and Eli both looked at the journal. "Something I hope to not have to use. It rewrites reality and fate itself, but like everything else, it'll have consequences." Cupid sighed and pulled out a joint of his brown leather jacket. "This is fucking nuts. We're part of a goddamn prophecy. How's that for stakes?" Eli laughed and grabbed Cupid by the shoulders. "You, of all people, should be honored. All jokes aside, though, it is a lot. And yes, Charles, you're right. That journal is our last resort. Now let's go and get some allies." We got back to the Jeep and raced down the hill till the void opened up again. Where it leads this time, well, I had no fucking idea.